Welcome aboard Just Jets with your captain, Matt O'Leary. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to episode 38 of Just Jets. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, you probably noticed something's a little bit different. You don't get to see my ugly mug. Maybe it's a blessing. So my fault. Hand up. Not that you could see me raising my hand right now, but this is on me. I lost the footage, so I'm redoing the intro. Corrupt file. That'll get you every time, man. The corrupt file stinks. It's not fun, but anyway, let's get into episode 38 as it was recorded with the intro. So we'll start by talking about the Joe Douglas press conference. Everyone is getting all crazy that Joe Douglas spoke at 0-8 after the trade deadline. There were no moves today. A little bit surprised. Would have liked to seen Jordan Jenkins get moved because I'm tired of watching him on the field. I'm not surprised Jamison Crowder didn't get moved. I think he's coming back next year. Marcus May, I think, is going to sign an extension. Poole, I would guess I'm a little surprised that he wasn't moved. I think there's maybe some value there as he's a pretty solid slot corner. At the end of the day, what I want to tell you about this Joe Douglas press conference, and I understand you probably saw the quotes, and if not, I'm going to hit on the three main talking points that I want to get to. Don't look too much into this. There's really not a whole lot that Joe Douglas can say halfway through the season. Like, I don't know if people were expecting him to come out and say, yeah, Adam Gase sucks, he's going to be gone after the season, because that's never going to happen. He is never going to say that. A general manager, anyone in sports, no matter if it's the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, pick one out of a hat. No matter what, you're not going to be able to get somebody to say anything. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. That's the way that it works. You're never going to get someone to come out and say, yeah, we're tanking. We want Trevor Lawrence and we want a new coach. He's not going to say that. They got to get through the rest of the season first. Of course, he's not going to come out and say that, yeah, we don't believe in Sam Darnold. We're going to draft Trevor Lawrence if we're picking first overall. Or we don't believe in Adam Gase. We think he's doing an awful job. He can't say that to the public. Come on now. Some of the overreactions to some of these quotes were a bit much on social media. Go figure. A lot going on. Well, yesterday, by the time you're listening to this. But let's start Robbie Anderson, because he seemed to admit a mistake. Joe Douglas seemed to admit a mistake when it comes to Robbie Anderson, and I'm glad that he admitted that mistake because, frankly, it is a mistake. He should have been brought back. Brashad Perryman was risky. I said that he was an okay B option or number 2 if things didn't go well with Robbie Anderson, but the Jets didn't put much of an effort into bringing Robbie Anderson back. That's my main issue with it, and Joe Douglas would admit that. They basically didn't offer him what Carolina did. We knew that to be the case. Yes, there were some rumors that he got a 4-year offer from the Jets and he didn't take it. That's baloney. He would have signed that contract in a second. Everyone knows that. But the reality of the situation is Joe Douglas did not value him the same way that the Panthers did. And it's working out there. Joe Brady knows how to use him. Teddy Bridgewater's getting him the football, and it's not like Teddy gets the ball down the field a ton. Guess what? He's not just a deep threat. And Brashad Perryman, who you brought in here to replace him, can't stay on the field because he hasn't done that throughout almost the entirety of his career. He's someone who always struggles to stay on the field. And he only had a good 5-game stretch in his entire career. Most of this guy's career has been underwhelming as a former first-round pick. I said from the beginning that this was going to be risky. Most people knew that it was going to be risky. I said the Jets are banking on him being the player that he was the last 5 weeks, and I really hope that he is, because I think he's a poor man's version of Robbie Anderson, but he just can't stay on the field. Robbie, admittedly not a perfect receiver. He's a good receiver, but he's not a perfect receiver. To his credit, is relatively healthy. He plays. Perryman can't stay on the field. That's half the trouble with Brashad Perryman. So yeah, I'm with Joe Douglas. I regret the Jets not bringing him back. And I'm not saying the Jets wouldn't be 0-8 with Robbie Anderson, but, I mean, come on. The offense would have a little bit more of a shot with Robbie Anderson in this instead of Brashad Perryman. Or realistically, Perryman's not even been on the field, so they'd be much better off without Jeff Smith or Vincent Smith lined up on the outside. Ridiculous. Next thing I wanted to get to, Sam Darnold. Joe Douglas says that Sam is the quarterback of the future and that he has to do a better job of putting talent around him. Yeah, I would agree that he didn't do enough to put talent around him, but I don't know how much I could buy the quarterback of the future thing. I don't see how, if the Jets end up with the number 1 overall pick, that they're not taking Trevor Lawrence. If they're picking 3rd somehow, which I don't see as a possibility, and both Fields / Lance, I guess, at the number 2 pick, and Trevor Lawrence are off the board, then maybe. But I think then you'd probably take the 3rd quarterback. That's a different conversation, though. This team looks like it's on a fast track to the number 1 overall pick. They are the clear-cut favorite to land the number 1 overall pick because they're not in any of these games. They are 0-8, and they are getting blown out every single week. The Giants are a bad team. Don't let that fool you. The New York Giants stink, but they are at least competitive. They could probably squeak out a couple of wins here and there. Jacksonville won a game. Jacksonville's probably the biggest threat to the New York Jets. Probably the biggest threat to not getting the number 1 overall pick. Even they won a game. I don't see how you're not taking Trevor Lawrence. So not buying that Sam is the quarterback of the future. And part of the reason why that is because they didn't put him in a good situation. And it's not just Joe. It's not Joe Douglas. He had that one off season. It's more on the past general manager, Mike Maccagnan, and Adam Gase, who Joe Douglas didn't hire. This is like 10% on Joe Douglas, 25% on the player, and the other 65% you could split evenly between Maccagnan and Adam Gase. The Jets failed Sam Darnold. He is regressing. He is not the player that he was in his rookie year or even at points last year. I don't buy that Sam's the quarterback of the future. I was very much so rooting for that to be the case. I thought he was on a trajectory to become that player. He has taken a massive, massive step back this year. And he's spooked. He looks spooked out there. He looks scared. He's not doing the right reads. It's pretty obvious. And the last one that I want to talk about from this Douglas presser that everyone needs to calm down about is he wants Gase to turn it around with him. No. Adam Gase is going to be here for the last 8 games. They're going to suck it up. They are at best going 1-15, probably 0-16. This team has the worst point differential in the league. They are getting blown out. They got very little talent on the offensive side of the ball. They have very little talent on the defensive side of the ball. Their best players, the punter. Gase will be here through week 17. He's not getting fired midseason. I don't believe that to be the case. No matter what happens in the election, Woody Johnson is likely getting more involved with this team. And he's going to want to be the savior. He's going to come back and say, okay, we'll move on from Adam Gase. And I'll come back and the fans will love me because I got them to move on from Adam Gase. And then you're going to get the hot young name quarterback in here and Trevor Lawrence and make New York a destination. And you know how much he loves that. He's an ego guy. Come on. We all know that. But Adam Gase is not going to be here next year. I promise you. There is a 0% chance that Adam Gase is here next year. And I know some fans are worried because some people think, oh, he's just along for the ride in the tank and this is all part of the plan. No. It's not. It's not part of the plan. It's not. Joe Douglas is going to be able to do this his way. Maybe he's not allowed to hire his own guy, but he's going to be able to build this roster his way. And that's the plan. This was supposed to be an evaluation year. Well, we saw. We did our evaluation. The Jets don't have many building block pieces, and their coach is atrocious. Atrociously bad. So please do not read too much into press conferences. There's only so much that these guys can say. Now, before we get into the voicemails, got something to talk about with you. Autumn is in the air, and Manscaped is here to ensure you that you don't carve your pumpkins when you're grooming. By pumpkins, we actually mean your boys downstairs. In fact, Manscaped is on a mission to change the way you approach caring for your balls. And great news, they just released their products in the UK, Canada, and Australia. Their skin-safe technology makes shaving a breeze. You can pick up the Lawnmower 3.0. You can pick up the Weed Whacker. And I got you hooked up. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with promo code JETS20. That's promo code JETS20. Make your balls a priority this fall. Let's do it. Let's get into the voicemails now. We're going to get this going. I want to hear from you guys. We are going to start things off with Steven from Queens, who wants to talk about the head coaching search.
This is Steven from Queens, New York, Maspeth. And the Jets are just terrible. I know no one is high on his list, but I want Jim Harbaugh as the head coach. Granted, he hasn't done much in Michigan, but the guy knows how to win. He took San Francisco from a dump of an organization and revived them since then. And I understand he wears out his welcome, but he knows how to develop quarterbacks, whether you like it or not.
Does he?
I like Jim Harbaugh. He's high on my list, and I want him as my next New York Jets head coach. He's a no-nonsense, don't take no crap kind of a head coach, and I like that. He has a fire in him. I like him, and I want Jim Harbaugh. And go Jets.
How's Shea Patterson doing? He since he's been to Michigan, they have underwhelmed. That's the perfect analogy for it. Yes, they are winning games, but they are not at the point where they should be. And he had a good recruit in Shea Patterson at the quarterback position. They got him in the door at Michigan, and he never got better. They were waiting for him to get better. I understand what he did in the NFL a decade ago. Guess what? Mike McCarthy had success in the NFL a decade ago. That doesn't translate to 2020. That would have been a mistake hire in 2018. And Dallas is realizing that it's a mistake hire now. Come on. The reason why his gimmick can work in college is because they are getting new players in every few years. If you're in the NFL, that shtick wears thin quickly. He's like Greg Williams. Greg Williams has success in places in short stints. They love it. Oh, yeah, he's loud. He gets in our faces. He could be mean at times. It wears thin. Harbaugh's bounced around. I think he's fine in college football. I don't want him handed the keys to this franchise because that's the thing. Like, he's not just going to want to coach. He's going to want to pick the groceries, as the great Bill Parcells said. He doesn't deserve that power. I don't trust him with that power. Just like Adam Gase is power hungry, and granted, Gase is not on the same level as Jim Harbaugh. Don't get that twisted. But no, that would be a mistake. I can't say that I agree with you, Steve. Next up is Felix. Thanks for calling in, by the way. And next up is Felix. He wants to talk about Justin Fields. He's pretty high on him.
Hey, Mr. Matt, what's going on? This is Felix calling from the Bronx, New York, a.k.a. King Cabron. This is the question I have for you. Would you be upset if the Jets went a totally different direction, have the number one pick, or we grab Justin Fields? Because looking at the game tape, he looks impressive, just as impressive, if not more impressive, than Trevor Lawrence. Now, they both play on exceptional teams, but watching the game against Syracuse, he looked a little shaky, Trevor. I'm not going to lie. But Justin looks calm at all times. He has a gun for an arm as well. If you've seen that 45-yard laser he threw this last weekend. So tell me, would you be upset if the new coach we bring in says, hey, draft me Justin Fields? I think that's the player I want. Let me know. God bless.
Thank you so much for checking in, Felix. Love the energy there. I think to answer your question, I'm going to elaborate, but I don't want Justin Fields 1 overall. I think that would be a mistake because I think Trevor's the all-around better prospect. That's not to say that Fields isn't a good prospect. I think if somehow let's put it like this. If the Jets screw up this tank and Jacksonville's picking first, or the Giants are picking first, or Washington's picking first, and they take Trevor Lawrence and the Jets are picking second or third, then I'm okay with taking Justin Fields. You know what? I'm probably be okay with taking Trey Lance also. After that, I'm not sure there's really a quarterback that I'd feel comfortable taking, and then maybe I'd roll with Sam if somehow. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we're going to go nuts if the Jets are without or are not able to select Lawrence, Fields, Lance. Then okay, Darnold probably did enough in the last 8 games to prove that he's the guy. But if you're in the top 3, you're taking a quarterback. And Lawrence would be my pick. Fields is growing on me. I like Lance a lot. I think you can make a strong case for him to be the second quarterback, but I would not be, put to you like this, I would not be upset if Justin Fields is my quarterback in 2021. I would be a little surprised if they had the opportunity to take Lawrence and didn't take him. But I understand why you like Fields. He's a good prospect, so I understand the love, and maybe he should be talked about more, especially if the Jets aren't picking first overall, then he's going to get talked about a whole lot. So thanks for checking in, Felix. We're going to go to Jimmy in Columbus, who wants to talk about Trevor Lawrence, and is he actually coming out?
Hey, Matt, it's struggling Jimmy out here in Columbus. We all know Adam Gase is going to get fired, whether it's after Kansas City blows us out by 40 points this week or right after the season. But my question's about our draft pick in this upcoming draft. In all likelihood, we're going to have the number 1 overall pick. Trevor Lawrence recently said he's undecided about declaring for the draft, which in all honesty I think is a bluff. At least I'm very much hoping that it's a bluff. If it isn't, though, and this is a worst-case scenario, what effect would that have on Joe Douglas and his thinking?
Ooh.
We'd field trade offers, but teams wouldn't offer as much because they know or think we wouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence. Would you be willing to trade the number 1 overall pick to Jacksonville or Atlanta, who at this point have a 3 and 4 overall picks, plus their second rounder and a late round pick? It sounds crazy, but I'm just laying out a worst case scenario, and we have a hell of a lot of needs that could be solved with the extra picks. Thanks, man. Hope you're doing well and staying safe.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Interesting thought. I do agree that that's kind of a worst case scenario. I don't buy that Lawrence isn't coming out. I don't think we have to worry about this. He's going to come out of Clemson. He's not going to go back because Jacksonville isn't a walk in the park. Washington's not a walk in the park. These teams taking, or picking at the top of the draft are not good franchises for a reason. He's going to have to turn it around. I'm a little confused by that question. Is Lawrence entering the draft but pulling an Eli and saying he won't play for the Jets? And you are trading that pick to Jacksonville or Atlanta and they are taking Lawrence instead? Or is it just Lawrence isn't entering? Because if it's just Lawrence isn't entering, then you probably take Justin Fields, number 1 overall, or Trey Lance if you like him better. I don't know. I wouldn't mess around at that point, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about this, Jimmy. I really don't. I truly believe that Trevor Lawrence, is coming out in 2021 as he should. He's graduating next December anyway. He's coming. Thank you for checking in. We're going to get to Anthony with some reaction about this game.
Hey, Matt, it's Anthony. I'm kind of running out of questions. Just let me know. What's wrong with the Jets, man? It's really sad to watch. Get up, baby.
How much time you got, Anthony? Because there's a lot wrong with this team. A lot. Just about everything is going wrong. It's probably easier to talk about what's going right for this team. Left tackle is very, 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 very good. Very good. Looks like it could be a very elite starting left tackle. Denzel Mims looks good. You could be excited about that. I'll give you that. On the offense, not really, outside of those two things, not really a whole lot. Defensively, Quinn Williams is getting better. Bryce Huff as a UDFA has been interesting. John Franklin Myers seems like someone who can play. Marcus May is good. Punter's good. And that's about it. That's about the positives. Everything else is wrong. Coaching, bad on both sides of the ball. Special teams coaching is fine, but there is a lot wrong with this team. Next up is Drew from North Carolina. Wants to talk about Jets fans and loyalty of New York Jets fans.
Hey, Matt. This is Drew from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm calling today. I just want to bring maybe a little bit of positivity to the show today. Even though we just got blown out by the Chiefs. But still, here's the positivity. When we look back on this season, we're going to know that we are some of the most loyal fans in the world, especially if we do end up going 0-16. I honestly think that whenever the Jets finally do win the Super Bowl, it's going to make that Super Bowl win even more sweet, the fact that we went 0-16 this year. But if you're like me, you've stuck through it all. You've watched every single game from start to finish, and I'm going to watch the remaining 8 games from start to finish, no matter how bad it gets. But I don't know. Just give me your opinion about that. I think it makes us some of the most loyal fans in the world. What do you think?
I definitely agree that it makes the Jets fans extremely loyal. We are extremely loyal fans. I give Jets fans a ton of credit. They've been through a lot, especially the fans who are older than I am. And I know I have people watching the channel who are older than me, who have seen more, and people younger too, who maybe, they have the success of 2009 and 2010, but after that, not a whole lot. And then you have the older fans who, maybe they were alive for Super Bowl III in the 1968-69 season, and then have been through the pain ever since then. As I've said it before on the show, I'm 25. I've been watching since the early 2000s, really 2003, 04 is when I really started to get into it at 8 and 9 years old. The Jets were good during that stretch. From 97 to 2010, the Jets were good. They went to 3 AFC title games over that span. Not a lot of teams could say they've been to 3 conference championship games. Granted, they never won one of those games, and they never went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. But, unfortunately, that's the way that it goes. And hopefully, like you said, it just makes the taste so much sweeter at the end of the day. I really hope that to be the case. So thank you so much for checking in, Drew. I'm right there with you. I agree. It's all part of the climb to the top. And hopefully that climb is getting shorter. I don't know how much longer I keep doing this. Next up is Ben in New Jersey, wants to talk some free agency.
Hey, Matt. It's Ben from New Jersey. I'm not here to talk about that shit show of a game on Sunday because there's nothing to talk about there. All I know is that we need a new offense in the offseason, and I'm just here to say some names that could definitely help the Jets come free agency. So the first guy is Allen Robinson from the Bears. This should be the number 1 target. He would instantly be our best receiver since Brandon Marshall, and would give Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold an amazing receiver that they can throw to. And I feel like it would definitely help the offense. The second guy is Joe Thuney, guard for the New England Patriots.
Yep.
Now, he should be someone the Jets should go after because the interior offensive line has been awful. Alex Lewis and Greg Van Roten aren't going to be here next year. So might as well try to get someone of amazing caliber like Joe Thuney to help the offense. The third guy is going to be Trey Burton of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, there's no one who's flopped more this year than Chris Herndon. He fumbles it every time he touches the ball, it seems like. Trey Burton, when he's healthy, has been pretty productive in games. He's fast for a tight end. He has pretty good hands. He's also a Joe Douglas guy going back to the Philly days. And I think we can get him on a cheap deal because of his injury history and also his age, but I think he would definitely help the offense also. Anyway, those are three guys who I think we should definitely go after in free agency, and hopefully the Jets take this advice. Thank you, and as always, go Jets.
Really like the first two a lot. Allen Robinson is very, very high on my list. I think he is one of the more underrated wide receivers in football. He is very, very good on a, let's say, not so great quarterback team in Chicago. And Joe Thuney is an elite level guard. Bill Belichick said it himself. The Patriots have their cap issues, so that's going to be a thing. I don't think he's going to re-sign there, so I would go all in on him. I was a huge proponent of bringing him in this year. Unfortunately, the guard positions have been really bad. Lewis and Greg Van Roten have not been very good, so you definitely need an upgrade there. Trey Burton, I'm lukewarm on. I'd like to give Herndon another go. I think you need probably more depth at the tight end position, but I would like to see Chris Herndon with a different coach. He has one more year on his rookie deal, and if he doesn't prove it next year, then okay, you move on. But Chris Herndon on the cheap for next year, I'm okay with. I think for one more go. So thanks for checking in, Ben. Let's go to Vinny, and let's talk some nightmare scenarios with Vin.
What's up, Matt? Vinny in Connecticut once again. I got a nightmare scenario I want to bring to your attention. This coming week, Monday Night Football, New England Patriots coming to MetLife to visit our Jets. My thing is, knowing the Pats season pretty much looks like it's going down the tubes, don't you think Belichick has it in him to throw this game intentionally for the sake of costing us Trevor Lawrence? All I'm saying is this guy is so hate-filled, so vindictive towards the Jets. All I'm saying is I wouldn't put it past him. Would love to hear what you think about that, and tank for Trevor, baby.
I get the vindictiveness that comes from Bill Belichick. And even with the Patriots struggles, I am here to tell you that they are not in the same stratosphere of bad as the New York Jets. The Jets are still losing by double digits this week to the Patriots. There's no way. There is no way that an Adam Gase team, coach team, can hang with the Patriots. Even a beat down roster, a coach who's pretty much admitted that they're flawed right now. That would be I agree that it would be a nightmare scenario, but I just don't think it's something that the Jets are going to have to worry about. That's how historically bad this football team is. So I get your concerns, Vinny. I just don't think they are a realistic one because of how bad the Jets actually are. Next up is Dan, who wants to talk about which players should stay once Gase leaves.
What's up, Matt? It's Dan from New York calling again. Hope you and the rest of this Jets Nation are doing well, man. These are some dark, dark times for sure. So I wanted to ask about, seeing as it's pretty obvious at this point that we are in complete fire sale mode, with all the trades happening, it really made me think about, you think about a guy like Darnold and how we're constantly talking about, is it him or Gates' system that should be taking, most of the heat for all of the failures of the season and of the regression of a lot of these players and of specifically Darnold in this case. So my question for you is, are there any players, specifically young guys on their rookie contracts, that you think are more or less just casualties of this horrendous Adam Gase system and should be held on to? Like, maybe, for example, like a Chris Herndon or, like a Chuma Edoga, guys who we've seen enough where they're worth hanging on to, you think, and you can, safely, assume that their issues were on coaching and not on their ceiling as players. So let me know what you think, man. Who's worth hanging on to, and go Jets.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Darnold struggles. A lot of it has to do with Gase, but unfortunately, I don't think that he's someone who's going to be back. Herndon is someone I just mentioned and that you mentioned, Dan. I think he could be good post Adam Gase. Who else on this offensive side of the ball? Crowder's probably going to be best under Gase because his offense, or his skill set rather, is important. The slot is important in Adam Gase's system. I would think the running back room would be better. Like P. Ryan could probably be better. Wide receivers, Mims would get more targets, more reps, which would be good. That's it really. But I think Herndon was the one that you're really kind of hinting at here. Chuma Doga I think could be a backup. I know you mentioned him in there as well. But I think for me, I really want to see if Chris Herndon could be the guy who the next, post Adam Gase era that he, gets back to the point where he should be. Because he's someone I was confident. I was extremely confident that he was going to be someone who was going to put up 600, 700 receiving yards this year. No, sir. He's not been even close. He's like the Chuck Knobloch of the NFL. He's got the yips real bad right now. Dropping everything, fumbling the football. Oh, it's bad. It's real bad. So thank you so much for checking in, Dan. He's probably my best answer for you. Billy is up next. He wants to talk about Adam Gase being back.
Hey, Matt, how you doing? Billy Finhorn here. Listen, longtime Jets fan, suffered through the fake spike, butt fumble, everything. Long story short, I disagree with you about Harbaugh, but I do like all your other coaching candidates. But
thank you.
Do not be surprised if Adam Gase is there next year. He's already snowed the owner, and he's going to snow. It'll be the worst thing ever, but do not be surprised they keep him. Have a good day.
I would be stunned if they kept him. Because I think Woody Johnson's getting back in the fold. If you want to say that he sold Christopher Johnson, yeah, I believe you. He did. He's a used car salesman. Mike McKinnon didn't hire him. This is Christopher Johnson. He got a phone call from Peyton Manning and was wooed. That's what this is. But Big Brother Woody, he's going to come back. Again, no matter what happens in the election, no matter what happens, I think he's coming back, even if Trump wins. And as I'm recording this right now, there's no definitive answers yet. But even if Trump wins, I think he's getting back in the mix with the Jets. And that's a good thing. Because he is significantly better than Christopher Johnson. It's scary that we are rooting for Woody Johnson to come back into our lives. He's not a good owner either, but he is significantly better than Christopher Johnson, which is a scary, scary sign. Next up is Phil. Thank you for checking in, Billy. Phil's call dropped out. Excuse me. Sorry, Phil. Your call dropped out. Try again next week. I know you check in a lot, so I just wanted to let you know that your call dropped, and I'm sorry I couldn't get to it this week. We're going to go to Travis in Ohio, who wants to talk draft capital.
Hey, Matt. Travis from Ohio. Hey, buddy. Just wondering your thoughts on all the draft capital and cap space we're going to have for next year, especially with the salary cap being where it's going to be. What 5 position groups do you want to focus on? Or would you like Joe to focus on? We got holes everywhere. I mean, it's basically the Titanic or Hindenburg, so
true.
Can't patch them all, but we got a lot of assets to patch what we want. So, anyway, what do you want to focus on? Top 5. And I don't want to talk about the game. I don't want to talk about these games anymore. I'm trying to move past it. So
I get you,
I'm
Travis.
looking forward to next year. So love you, buddy. Keep on trucking through these difficult times because you still have to create content. And I love the videos, of course, and the round table on Tuesday. So keep on keeping on. Love you, buddy. Bye.
Thank you for the kind words, Travis. Always appreciate it when you check in. I like the draft capital that Joe Douglas has been, able to get in here. I know it's all late round stuff, but the more assets, the better. Because the cap situation for a lot of football teams this year and next year is going to be, next year and the year after, rather, is going to be extremely difficult. You have teams like the Saints who are projected to be close to $100 million. I'll say it again. $100 million over the cap. $100 million. They got a lot of work to do. So yeah, maybe you flip a late round pick and get a disgruntled player in here, or someone who the team simply just can't afford, and rather than cut him, they'll move him for a 6th round pick. I think it's possible. We saw Brandon Marshall get traded for a 5th round pick, right? I'm pretty sure it was a 5th. Mike McKinnon sent over to the Chicago Bears. Could be wrong. So positional groups. Quarterback is going to be one with Trevor Lawrence. Edge, definite need. Corner, definite need. Wide receiver, definite need. Interior offensive line, definite need. And I'll give you another one. Running back is a definite need. I don't think P. Ryan is a number 1 running back. I think he could be a fine RB2. Someone who gets a few carries a game, could spell the number 1 running back. I'd like to see someone taken in the draft in the 2nd or 3rd round for running back. That'd be nice. Wide receiver's obvious. Edge is obvious. We haven't had a good edge presence since John Abraham left 15 years ago. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question, Travis. I think those are, premium positions for the most part, outside of maybe wide receiver and running back, some might say. But definitely those are the needs that I look to improve the most. Last one. Josh from Woodmere wants to talk about Justin Fields as a fallback option.
Hi, Matt. It's Josh from Woodmere. Another depressing game. Disgusting football from New York Jets, as always. Nothing new. And obviously, just looking forward to the draft like everyone. And it's like Trevor Lawrence. I feel like he's a franchise quarterback now, not Sam Darnold. It's sad. I really like Sam, but with, everyone's focus being on the draft and Trevor Lawrence, with him out and Justin Fields playing as well as he is, I think Lawrence is a better prospect, but I think people don't give Fields enough credit for how good he's been playing, and I think he's definitely, he's definitely shown something. So could you see Fields at all maybe, threatening Lawrence for the number 1 pick? I don't think he will, but I want to know what you think and why. And also, who do you think is a better prospect Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence? I also think the answer is Trevor Lawrence there, but just want to know what you think. Thank you. Love the show, and go Jets.
Good question. I would say probably Trevor Lawrence also, but it's closer than I think a lot of people give it credit. As for Justin Fields goes, I don't think he's a bad fallback option. I really don't. If the Jets aren't picking first and they pick Justin Fields 2nd, 3rd, then sure, I'm okay with that. If Trevor Lawrence is on the board, he's got to be the pick. I agree with you. I think people are sleeping on Justin Fields. I also like Trey Lance a lot, but Fields' stock is continuing to rise. And I don't think he makes it past the top 3. Probably top 2. I think it's going to be Lawrence, Fields 1-2 in this draft. So would not be upset if Fields is the quarterback. So that's going to do it for me on episode number 38. Sorry again for those video folks who like to consume on YouTube. Please subscribe wherever it is that you get this show. I appreciate each and every one of you. You are tremendous. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.